By the end of this video, you'll be able to build your own AI agent in Claude. I'm going to walk you through one I'm building right now, an agent that's going to help me tremendously. And the framework I give you is powerful enough to build whatever you want after this. An assistant, a podcast episode creator, something that reads your emails, whatever you want. I'm giving you the inside baseball, the exact structure process I use so you can go build your own. And if you stay to the end, I'm gonna hand you one of the skills I built free so you can just drop it straight into your own Claude. So let's dive in. So before I build anything, you need to see the framework because this is what makes it repeatable. Pay attention here. Every skill I build follows 4 steps, the 4 C's I call them. Concept, conversation, construction, and confirmation. Concept is the idea. What do I actually want this thing to do? Conversation is where I give Claude the context, my thinking, my logic, and this is the part most people rush, and it's the most important. Construction is where Claude actually builds the skill, and confirmation is where I test it to make sure it does what I want it. Concept, conversation, construction, confirmation. Now, watch me run all 4. Step 1, concept. Everything starts here, and it's simple. What do you actually want this thing to do? Watch how I give that to Claude. In full transparency, I am a consultant for a firm, and we have several advisors. And what I want to do today is I'm going to solve a problem that we've been having, which is as we meet with advisors, we need a living, breathing advisor dossier that has everything that they want, that they've said that they wanted. And so there's a lot of different sources, right? Because in the organization with more than 12 people, there's people having conversations with these advisors. There's recorded calls on our AI note taker. And so what I want to do is I want to create a agent or a skill, which is called in Claude, to go look at all these different sources, our CRM, all these different things, and compile an advisor dossier. That's what I want. And I want it as things are happening for it to be like on demand and it's not going to be static. It's going to be dynamic. So as we have new conversations, I wanted to look for conversations with that particular advisor, and I wanted to add to that and distill it all into a document. I just want to show you how I take conversations that I have with Claude, form that into skills or agents for me to do tasks at high leverage. I'm not gonna cheat because I do have a couple of skills that I've already created that have context, but I wanna build this from scratch so you'll know exactly how it's done. You can dictate into Claude if you want. I actually have something called Whisper Flow right here. And so I can speak directly into the mic a lot faster than I can type. So that's what I'm about to do. And I'm gonna give it the concept that I just gave you so that you can kind of understand how this works. All right, Claude, so you know enough about my Jumpstart consulting business, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to start building the guts of a skill that will allow us to create an advisor dossier. Here it is. So now something I will do and you should do is you need to make sure that Claude understands. So one general rule that you don't have the benefit of right now is how much context Claude has. So I am going to cheat a little bit, but this is not a cheat like I haven't built this before. I'm still going to build it from scratch. I haven't built this skill that I'm showing you now, but I do have something that I call a COO-Check. And before I start a task, I have Claude ask me several different questions to make sure that we're being thorough. So matter of fact, as a bonus, since I did cheat, I'm gonna give you this skill and package it. So all you have to do is upload it to your Claude and it'll do the same thing for you. How about that? That's a fair exchange, right? Step 2, conversation. This is the big one. This is where you give Claude your thinking, your context, your logic. Rush this and your skill comes out generic. Slow down here and it comes out like you built it. And now we're going into conversation, and conversation is the second step. And this provides the context that we're talking about because, again, the whole point of this is to be scalable and repeatable. Like a Claude conversation in chat can get really, really long. And every time you go back into it, I don't know if you know this or not, this is something I learned by doing this. It takes the very top of the conversation and goes all the way back down. And that's why your usage goes up and you expend tokens. So if you do something like this, you can literally create a new chat, and you'll see this. I can create a new chat whenever I want to, and just call the skill like I just did with this task start COO-Check. I can call that skill all the time, and it starts anew and afresh with all that context that I had before from previous conversations. That's the cool thing about building a skill. The more context you give, the better your skills will be. If you do not take the time to have the conversation, then the AI is left up to what it thinks, and you don't want that. All you want is the speed at which it thinks. but you want it to use your thinking, your rationale, your logic. It can challenge you. That's totally fine. But when it takes me 3 hours to come up with an idea all the way to fruition, then I want the AI to speed that up. So it's now saying, where should each advisor dossier physically live? So for now, we're just going to say a Google Drive Markdown. Right. I have ClickUp and some other things, but it's probably going to reside on the server for our company. But for right now, for this task, we're going to do it here. Which sources should auto feed the living dossier? We want Jump AI. I don't use ClickUp CRM, Gmail threads, coaching scorecards, some other things we want to do, Microsoft. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give Claude access to location on my drive that has most of the transcripts from calls. So ideally what's happening is, in an ideal sense, is as soon as a transcript hits our SharePoint, our OneDrive or something, then it will scrape that maybe periodically every night or something like that. And it will go in and find that transcript, distill what needs to be distilled, and add to the dossier. The other thing about this is once the skill is updated or once the skill is created, you can always create another one. You can always either update that one and do a version of it and create another one. I don't like to create another one. I like to just update the skill and it tracks the versions, and you can tell it to do that. Say, hey, what changes did I make in this one from the last one? So you can keep up with that. It's a very organized way to kind of store systematic changes to whatever you were thinking, because how you were thinking about something a month ago may be different than how you're thinking about it a year from now. Step 3. Construction. Now Claude does the heavy lifting and actually builds the skill. Your job here is mostly to get out of the way and watch what it makes. We're into construction. So construction is the phase where Claude is building this skill file that you're gonna upload to Claude and then use in every successive chat. It's creating all these different files. Some of the skill file is gonna be the actual agent. It's the guts of this. And then it calls on different reference files. Every skill may have different references. It depends on how you build it. Like for my LinkedIn writing agent, this is the one that helps me comment and formulate posts. And so it has several references, right? My voice, how Dom talks, my posting schedule, how I comment. I even have where I pull my own analytics from a tool that I use, authored up, that allows me to look at how my posts have done so that I can continually refine them. When your skills are building, you want to kind of think methodically about that. This is why the concept and the conversation part is so crucial before you get to construction. So the skill description is too long, so please repackage it with a description that is less than 1,024 characters. We've gone over this before. You should know this. I talk to Claude like a person. I do have the 5X, I believe, version of Claude. That may be a question that people have is like, so what version of Claude do you need to have? I don't think it really matters the version. It just matters how much time you're going to be spending. If you're going to be spending a lot of time, it's probably worth the $100 a month investment that I make in order to have access to these models that take up a lot of tokens. Quick thing while Claude builds this out. If you're finding this useful, I actually dropped one of my skills in the description, the COO-Check that I mentioned earlier. Grab it now so you've got it when you're ready to build your own. Okay, now let's go see what Claude made. Step 4. Confirmation. This is the one people skip, and it's the one that matters. You test it. You make sure it actually does what you want it before you start trusting it. Confirmation is the last step. After we do the concept, after we have the conversation, then we construct as we've done now, and then we confirm. And we're gonna save this skill. So let me show you exactly how to do this. I'm gonna move this over, and we're gonna save this skill. Save the skill, there we go. And now it's saved. So if I go to manage, there it is. That's the skill. Here are the assets, right? It has a example so that it knows what to do going forward and how to build those out. So it seems pretty robust here. There's a couple ways I can do this, and either way is up to you. Now, if you do the test, the confirmation inside of the co-work session you're doing where you have the skill, it has all this context from the beginning of the conversation. And so you can argue that that's probably not the best test of whether this skill works or not, because it has all the information in here. The real test, like what I would do is I would leave this open and come back to it if I want to change the skill or any parts of it because it didn't come out right. So what I would do is I would literally, and this is the second way, I would copy paste this into a new chat calling on this skill. This is the cool thing about building skills is you can go to any random chat or new chat rather, and just call that skill, and it takes all the intelligence of that skill that we just spent all this time building and now puts it in here. As you see, it starts by reading the advisor dossier skill, and it's going to follow that entire workflow. And as long as you give it access to your Google Drive and these other places, it will go find the transcript for this particular advisor, for in my case, and find all the transcripts and distill all that information into a dossier. And here we go. It has our full dossier, and this is what our managers will have access to when they want to think about. So let me tell you why this actually matters, because it's not about this one skill. Here's what most people get wrong about AI. They think it's going to replace their thinking. It's not. The whole point is to speed up your thinking. When it takes me 3 hours to work an idea all the way through, I don't want to lose that thinking. I want to keep my logic, my rationale, my judgment, and have the AI run it at speed. That's the difference. You're not handing your brain to a machine, you're taking the way you already think and giving it leverage. And the people who learn to build like this, they get the output of a whole team without hiring one. The ones who don't will keep typing one question at a time into a chat box, wondering why they're still stuck doing everything themselves. You don't need to learn code. You need to learn to build. That's the whole game right now. Let me pause for just one honest ask. If you just watched that work and thought, I could actually use this, then do one thing for me. Check if you're subscribed to the channel. That's all I'm asking. This channel is me showing advisors and operators how to grow, how to actually build this stuff. No theory, no hype, the real thing. And if that's useful to you, subscribing tells me to keep on making it. That's all I'm asking. All right, let's get back to the episode. Okay, so you just watched me build a real skill from scratch, and I dropped that COO-Check skill in the description for you. Free, go grab it. But here's the truth. Watching me do it once is not the same as being able to do it yourself. Every time without the 3-hour conversation. That's the gap. So I packaged the whole thing. It's called the Architect's Playbook. It's the exact 4-step formula I just went through and that you just watched: concept, conversation, construction, and confirmation, but built into a system. The templates, the prompts, I actually use the deployment process so you can build your own skills on demand without starting from a blank page. So if you're the kind of person who wants to build, not just watch, it's the fastest way I know to get there. Links in the description. It's called the Architect's Playbook. So that's how you build a skill: concept, conversation, construction, confirmation. Now go run it on something in your own world this week. And as always, go build something you're proud of, my friend.